I was standing at the grill flipping burgers when Bianca walked up in wedges and a white sundress, holding a toddler on her hip like a damn accessory. I'd never seen her before in my life. She didn't look like she belonged. Not with my family, not with my friends, not at my husband's memorial barbecue. "My name's Bianca," she said loud enough to silence 3 conversations. "And this is Mason. He's Darren's son." I froze, spatula in the air, heart slamming into my ribs. At first, I thought maybe she had the wrong person. Wrong Darren. But then she kept going. "We were together for over a year," she said, looking right at me. "He promised he'd leave you. And he did. In his new will." She dug into her oversized purse and pulled out a thick envelope, already opened. "It's legal. Notarized. Dated 3 months before his accident. Darren left Mason half the property." The porch went silent. My cousin whispered something. My neighbor tripped over a lawn chair. I hadn't even blinked yet. "Quick note. Before we start, how's your day going? And where are you joining from?" Bianca held up the pages like she was presenting evidence at a trial. "He said the land would give Mason security, that he didn't want the child he actually loved to grow up with nothing." I felt like someone poured ice water down my spine. People were looking at me. Coworkers from the factory, Darren's cousin Janie, even my goddamn pastor. But I couldn't move, couldn't speak. She pointed toward my house. "We'll be moving in next week. I'll be taking the master bedroom, obviously, and turning the art studio into Mason's nursery." Her voice was sugar sweet, but there was something smug buried under it. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she made sure there were nearly 50 people around to watch her do it. Nobody said a word. Not a single damn person stepped forward. I was standing on my own lawn, being erased in real time. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I set the spatula down on the picnic table, wiped my hands on a dish towel, and walked away. Past the smokers, past the kids playing cornhole, past the cheap banner someone had hung that said, "Celebrating Darren's life." I got in my truck and drove. Hands shaking, jaw locked. Couldn't even make sense of the road for the first 5 miles. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I was gripping the steering wheel like I could snap it clean off. Screw humiliation, screw pity. That woman thought she was gonna bulldoze me? Hell no. I left the engine running in the driveway and went straight inside, grabbed the deed from the top drawer of Darren's old filing cabinet. My name was the only one on it, just like it had always been. I bought this place 5 years before I even met Darren, with money from my grandpa's estate. Every nail, every patch of soil, mine. He'd pushed to get his name added after we got married, not in a shady way, just for convenience, he said. But I told him no. I wasn't ready to give up any part of it. That land was all I had left of my family. At the time, he'd let it go easy, didn't even argue. Looking back now, I wondered if that bugged him more than I knew. I dug through the rest of the paperwork, double-checking every title and receipt. Still mine. No joint ownership, no liens, no transfer of title. Whatever that woman waved around back there, it wasn't real, or at least it wasn't enforceable. I turned next to our accounts, credit cards, savings. Darren handled most of the online bill pay, but I still had access. I logged in and started looking, transaction by transaction. No charges for diapers, baby gear, or rent on a second apartment. Nothing that looked like hush money or medical bills. If he was supporting Bianca, he wasn't using anything with my name on it. But then I checked the coat he always left hanging by the back door, the canvas Carhartt he wore when he worked night shifts out at the mill. In the inside pocket, zipped up tight, was a prepaid flip phone and a small brass key. The phone still had juice. When I powered it on, it buzzed with messages. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Most were from a number labeled B. I scrolled. "You said you'd leave her by Thanksgiving. She doesn't deserve that land. I don't want to raise our son in a trailer. Are you backing out again?" My stomach twisted up so hard I thought I'd throw up right there on the kitchen tile. The key was old style, thin, worn smooth on the edges. Not a house key, too small, safe deposit box maybe. I stuck it in my jeans pocket. Then I sat down at the table, stared at the phone, and hit call on the only person I trusted. Mia picked up on the second ring. "You okay?" "No," I said flat. He had a whole second life. I told her everything. The will, the phone, the texts, the way Bianca stood in my yard and talked like she already owned the place. Mia didn't even hesitate. "You need to lawyer up, Kel. Go nuclear." "I'm not blowing the place up," I said. "Not yet." "Well, you better start swinging. That woman's coming for blood." "She's not gonna get mine," I said. She wants to play games? Fine, but I'm not walking into her traps. Mia went quiet for a beat. So what's the plan? I stood, grabbed the flip phone, and headed toward Darren's closet. I play it smart, I stay quiet, and I figure out exactly what they were doing behind my back, every inch of it. I slid open the closet and stared at the half-empty shelves, shirts still smelling like his cologne. I reached up, grabbed a box from the top shelf, and started going through it. No more surprises, I said. Next time we talk, I'm not the one getting blindsided. The next morning, I didn't waste time. I threw on jeans, pulled my hair into a knot, and drove straight to the office park where Darren used to work, and where Bianca still did. It was Saturday, but I knew someone would be in. Month-end payroll. HR always ran overtime. I parked in the visitor spot, walked in like I belonged there, and headed straight to the back where the cubicles were. After a minute of awkward hovering, a guy in khakis and a baseball cap looked up from his computer. Can I help you? Kyle, right? I asked. I recognized him from the Christmas parties. He used to talk fantasy football with Darren for hours. He blinked. Yeah? I dropped my voice. Look, I know this is weird, but I need a favor. Off the record. He shifted in his chair. Depends on what kind of favor. It's about Bianca. I need to know when she went on maternity leave. He raised his eyebrows, clearly caught off guard. Why? Because she just showed up claiming my husband fathered her kid, and that he left her half my damn farm. He sat back hard. Holy shit. Yeah, holy shit, I said. So just tell me the dates. That's it. He hesitated, glanced around the office. It was quiet. Phones ringing down the hall, copier humming, no one close enough to hear. Finally, he leaned in. December 1st to early March. That's when she was out. Full 3 months? Yup, HR standard policy. I nodded. Thanks, Kyle, you didn't hear this from me. He gave me a half smile. Don't even know who you are. Back in the car, I pulled out my phone and opened the calendar app. December to March off meant the baby came early June. Full-term pregnancy? That had put conception around early September. I scrolled back. First week of September, Darren and I were in Texas. 5 straight days at his uncle's ranch for the family reunion. Horses, bonfires, too much beer. I remembered we'd shared a room with his cousin and her husband. No time alone, no sneaking off. We were together the entire damn trip. I stared at the screen, doing the math again, checking and rechecking. The numbers didn't move. The kid had to be conceived while Darren and I were sleeping in the same bed every night. 2 states away from Bianca. I sat there, engine running, AC blowing hard. Could she have lied about the due date? Faked the pregnancy? Bought the baby from someone? The idea sounded crazy, until I remembered the look on her face when she said, "Our son." Like she'd practiced it in the mirror, like she didn't mean the words at all, just liked how they sounded. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles cracked. I hadn't buried Darren 2 months ago thinking I'd need to go full Sherlock Holmes. But here I was, sweating through my shirt, realizing the woman trying to steal my life might have built her whole story on a lie. I threw the car into gear and peeled out of the lot. Next stop, the county office. If there was one fake, there might be more. I parked half crooked outside the county records office and walked in like I was late to court. Tight shoulders, zero patience. The woman behind the plexiglass looked up slow, like she'd already decided to make this difficult. I need to check for any wills filed under the name Darren Ellis, I said. Filed in the last 12 months. She gave me a bland smile and clicked her keyboard with fake urgency. Relation? Widow. She squinted at her screen, scrolled for a while, then said, Nothing filed under that name. You sure it would have come through this office? Pretty damn sure. We lived here his whole life. Then there's no will. Good, I muttered. One more thing. I need certified proof of property ownership. Parcel numbers 618-09-121. She blinked, surprised I had it memorized. I didn't offer an explanation. After about 10 minutes and $30, I walked out with 2 certified papers in hand, one stating no last will and testament was ever filed for Darren Ellis, and the other confirming that 14.3 acres off Route 12, including residence and outbuildings, belonged solely to Kelly Sue Ellis. Purchased in full before marriage. Bianca's legal document could go straight to hell. Next stop was Vincent's lock and safe. The guy behind the counter was old school, gray ponytail, flannel shirt, even in August. He took one look at the brass key and whistled. Safe deposit box, bank issued. You don't see many like this anymore. Any idea which bank? He held it under the light. Gotta be a local branch? Small town banks still use these. One in Bellevue does, I think. I hadn't even known Darren had a deposit box. He never mentioned it, not once. We kept everything in the fire safe under the bed. Birth certificates, tax returns, our wedding license. That box wasn't for both of us. It was for him. I left the locksmith's with the key clenched tight in my fist. As I turned onto my street, I saw a familiar SUV idling 2 houses down. Black Ford Escape, tinted windows, vanity plate with 3 butterflies on it. Bianca, she didn't get out. Just circled the block once, slow, like she was casing the place. I pulled into my driveway and waited. She passed again. This time, she looked right at me. No wave, no smile, just cold calculation on her face like she was measuring her next move. I didn't flinch, didn't blink. I just stared back. You want a war? Fine. But I don't rattle easy. Let her play dumb. Let her pretend she had the upper hand. She had no idea who she was dealing with. I was still in my robe, coffee half drunk, when the knock came. Not a polite knock either. Loud, sharp, like she owned the damn door. I looked through the side window. There she was, Bianca, hair curled, baby on her hip, dressed like she was about to walk into a real estate showing instead of the house of the woman she just publicly humiliated. I opened the door but didn't say anything. Morning, she chirped. Hope I'm not too early. I figured we should talk about next steps. You know, get things rolling. Sure, I said. Come in. I didn't flinch, didn't show her a damn thing, just turned and walked to the kitchen like it was any other day. Tea? That'd be nice, she said, settling onto the couch and bouncing Mason on her knee. He's usually good in the mornings. Darren always said he had my temperament. I didn't respond. Just set the kettle on the stove, leaned against the counter, and waited. She launched right in. So, obviously, this isn't how I wanted it to go. I thought Darren had talked to you already, but, well, it's hard being the one left to deal with things, right? I stayed quiet. She took that as permission to keep going. Darren was going to leave you. I'm not saying that to be cruel, it's just the truth. We'd been planning it for a while. He just didn't want to make it messy. He said you were sensitive. I almost laughed at that. Sensitive, right. He said you'd never understand what we had, she added, running her hand over Mason's hair like she was petting a damn prop. He knew he made a mistake marrying you. That's why he changed the will. I set 2 mugs on the table and sat across from her. She pulled a folded paper from her bag and slid it across the table like she was closing a business deal. I brought a copy. I figured you'd want to see it again. I picked it up and scanned it slowly this time. Looked more like something printed from a Word template than anything from an actual lawyer. And right there on the second page, a condo in Nevada. We'd never owned a condo. We'd never even been to Nevada. I looked up. Interesting, Will. It's legal, she said. He filed it. No, he didn't. I stood, walked to the side drawer, and pulled out the 2 documents I'd picked up yesterday. I laid them flat in front of her. 1, no will was ever filed under Darren's name. 2, this land and house, purchased by me in full, 5 years before I even met him. Your little fantasy of turning my art studio into a nursery? That's not happening. Her eyes flicked between the papers and my face. Maybe it got lost, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Or maybe he was planning to file it later. And maybe we should do a DNA test, I said, cutting her off. Just to be sure. She went still, just for a second, long enough for me to catch it. That's unnecessary, she said finally. Darren admitted it was his. He was just scared of you? Scared of me? I said. That's funny, because I've read your messages. I've seen how you talk to him. She doesn't deserve that land? Are you backing out again? That's not love, Bianca. That's pressure. Her lips pressed together. He loved Mason. He didn't love you. She stood suddenly, Mason fussing now on her hip. Look, I didn't come here to fight. I just wanted to make this as smooth as possible for everyone involved. Then walk away, I said, because I'm not handing over my house to a woman who can't even keep her story straight. I have rights, she snapped. You thought you did, but you don't. She shifted Mason higher on her hip, looked around the room one more time like she was trying to memorize it. Darren wanted us here, she said quieter now. Darren's dead, I said flatly. And I'm still here. And unless you have a court order, You and that kid don't get so much as a square inch of my dirt. She stared at me, mouth open like she wanted to say something else. A last shot, but nothing came. I opened the door. She didn't move at first. Then she squared her shoulders, stepped through, and walked out without another word. I shut the door behind her and locked it. Checkmate? Not yet. But she wasn't winning this game. As soon as the front door clicked shut behind Bianca, I walked straight to the kitchen, pulled my phone off the charger, and scrolled down to a number I hadn't used in years. Ryan McLean. Private investigator. We'd crossed paths a while back when I helped him rebrand his website and business cards. He owed me one. He picked up on the third ring. Kelly Ellis? Yeah? You still working? I don't retire till they bury me, he said. What's going on? I didn't sugarcoat it. I gave him everything. The will, the fake air, the texts, the mystery baby, all of it. His tone shifted halfway through. You got a name? Bianca Marie Carter. At least that's what she's going by now. He whistled. All right, I'll dig. Need anything from me? Just time. How long? Couple days, he said. Maybe 3. Good, I'll be waiting. I hung up and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Forward motion. 3 days later, he called back. Got a minute? Go. So your girl's name ain't Bianca Carter, at least not originally. She's gone through 3 identities in the last 10 years. Started as Rachel Bennett, changed to Danielle Royce around 28, then became Bianca Carter 2 years ago. I paced my living room, phone pressed tight to my ear. She's been engaged twice, he continued. Both men were older, mid-50s, well off. One was a retired Navy vet. The other ran a string of dry cleaners in Georgia. Both are dead now. One heart attack, one hit and run. My stomach dropped. No charges? Nope, nothing stuck. But get this. Both men changed their wills in the final 6 months of life, left the bulk of their estates to her. First guy's kids contested it, said the signature looked fake. Probate court tossed it, but she still walked away with a hefty settlement. My hand curled into a fist. She's a professional, I muttered. She's something, Ryan said. Also, that kid of hers? Mason. Yeah, I can't find a birth certificate for him under her current or former names. Not in this county. Not in the state. I stopped walking. What are you saying? I'm saying there's no legal record of her giving birth in the last 3 years. I checked hospitals, public indexes, the whole 9. Nothing comes up. It's like the kid just appeared. My mouth went dry. So she could have taken him. I'm not jumping to conclusions yet. Could be a home birth, could be sealed records. But it's weird, and given her history, worth digging deeper. She always called him our son, I said quietly. Never my son. Like she didn't believe it either. You want me to keep going? He asked. Hell yes. I want you to keep going, I snapped. I want every name, every address, every fake paper trail she's ever laid down. You got it. I hung up, phone still hot in my hand. Bianca hadn't just lied. She'd run the same playbook before. Older man, revised will, sudden tragedy, inheritance. Only this time, she hadn't counted on me being the one left standing. I looked out the window. The sun was low, bleeding orange across the fields. My farm, my home. She'd tried to rewrite my story, but I was taking the damn pen back. I drove straight to Irene's, didn't call ahead, just knocked once and stepped inside like I still belonged there. She was at the kitchen table doing a crossword, glasses perched on the tip of her nose, looked up, calm as ever. Coffee? No, I said. I need to ask you something. She folded the newspaper. All right. Did Darren ever mention having a safety deposit box? She didn't hesitate. Yes. That stopped me. Seriously? He opened one years ago, she said, standing to rinse her cup. Right after your wedding, I think. Said it was just for documents. I never asked what kind. Did he list anyone as backup? I think he put me down as emergency contact. Why? I found a key, I said. And I think it's the only place I'm going to get the truth. She dried her hands. Then let's go. We drove in silence to the Bellevue Community Bank. Irene still banked there, same branch Darren had used since high school. The manager, Mr. Carlson, remembered both of them the second we walked in. I'm sorry for your loss, he said, shaking my hand. Darren was one of the good ones. Depends who you ask, I muttered. Irene explained the situation. Mr. Carlson asked for ID, pulled some forms, then led us to a small side room with a beige metal cabinet against the wall. Box number 117. He slid the key in and turned it. Take your time, he said, and closed the door behind him. Inside was a thin stack of folders, a manila envelope, and a plastic flash drive in a labeled Ziploc. I pulled everything out and laid it on the small table. One folder held our marriage license and insurance policies. Nothing surprising. Another had copies of life insurance with my name as sole beneficiary. But the envelope, it was sealed and handwritten. For Kelly, if I'm gone. My hands shook as I opened it. Kelly, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve any of this. Last year, I messed up. I had an affair. It wasn't love. It wasn't anything real. I was stupid and weak. Her name's Bianca. You've probably met her by now. She wasn't supposed to be part of our lives. I ended it, but she wouldn't let go. She started calling, showing up, threatening to tell you, threatening worse. I don't think the baby's mine. I never saw proof. She refused to test, but she said she'd ruin me if I didn't help her. I sent money. I said whatever I had to. I just wanted her gone. I didn't tell you because I knew I'd already broken too much. This flash drive has everything. Messages, recordings, payment logs. If something happens to me, don't trust a word she says. She lies like it's air. I love you, even if I didn't always show it. Darren dated, 2 days before the crash. I sat there frozen. Irene covered her mouth, eyes wide, breathing hard. I opened the flash drive on the room's bank laptop. There it was, a full folder of screenshots, audio clips, bank statements. One voice memo was labeled, Threat 4. I clicked play. Bianca's voice, sharp and cold. If you don't take care of me and Mason, I'll take care of things myself. You won't like how it ends. I hit stop. 2 days later, Darren died on that ATV. Flipped it into a ditch on a trail he knew like the back of his hand. It had always felt off. He wasn't reckless. He didn't drink that night. Now I knew why my gut hadn't settled. I looked at Irene. Her hands were shaking. She killed him, I said. Her lips parted, but no words came. I didn't need her to say it. I knew. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't eat either. By morning, I had a plan. I called Ryan first, then my lawyer, then Irene. We all agreed to meet at the house by noon. At 12:03, Bianca pulled up in her black SUV, wearing another sundress like she was auditioning for some Stepford version of motherhood. No baby this time. Just a smug smile and a massive purse swinging off her shoulder. I opened the door and stepped aside. Come on in. She walked in like she owned the place, eyeing the furniture like she was mentally rearranging it. Ryan sat on the armrest by the fireplace, arms crossed. My lawyer, Denise, was already flipping through a manila folder at the dining table. And Irene? She sat silently in the corner, hands folded in her lap, eyes sharp. Bianca's smile dimmed just a little. I didn't realize this was a group discussion, she said. We figured it was time to clear a few things up, I said, shutting the door behind her. She stayed standing, arms tight across her chest. I kept my tone calm, casual. Let's start with your name, Bianca Carter, right? She nodded. Obviously, Ryan stood and held up a printout. That's funny, because we pulled your DMV records, and before you were Bianca, you were Danielle Royce. And before that, Rachel Bennett. You've had 3 names in 10 years. Her jaw tensed. That's none of your business. When you're waving fake wills in my face and claiming ownership of my property, I said, it becomes my business. Denise stood, holding the county documents. There is no legal will on file, and the deed, legally recorded and certified, lists Kelly as the sole owner of this property, purchased prior to her marriage to Darren. Your claim has no standing. Bianca looked around the room like she was trying to spot the exit. I kept going. You said the baby was Darren's, but we traced your work's maternity leave. You gave birth in early June. Darren and I were in Texas together when that baby would have been conceived. Whole family saw us, got pictures. She scoffed. Conception dates aren't exact. You can't prove anything. No, I said, but we can ask for a DNA test of the child and of you. Her mouth snapped shut. Ryan stepped forward. Because guess what else we couldn't find? A birth certificate for either of you. And based on the trail of dead ex-fiancés in your past, you've been playing this scam for a while. You don't know what you're talking about, she said, voice shaking. We also have this, I said, reaching into the file and pulling out the flash drive Darren left me. Recordings, bank transfers, threats, all from you. She stepped forward fast and grabbed for it. In the scramble, her oversized purse hit the ground and dumped half its contents. A cracked phone, a makeup bag, a teething ring, loose cash, and a prescription bottle that rolled right to my feet. I picked it up, read the label. Darren Ellis, diazepam, 30 tabs, filled 1 week before his death. My breath caught. This bottle went missing from our bathroom the week before he died, I said. He never even opened it. And now it's in your bag. Bianca's face turned white. That's not mine. Someone planted it. You were at the house the day before his crash, I said. You could have slipped it into anything. A drink. His thermos. You can't prove that, she said, backing up. I don't have to, I said, holding her gaze. Because you just did. I stepped closer. You didn't break me, Bianca. You buried yourself. She stared at me like she wanted to lunge, then turned and bolted out the door. None of us followed. I watched from the porch as she sped down the road, tires squealing, purse half open in her lap. I didn't even flinch. The storm had finally cracked, and now it was her turn to drown. Bianca didn't make it far. 3 days after she ran, state troopers picked her up just outside Flagstaff, Arizona, trying to cross into New Mexico with Mason in the back seat. No plates, no car seat. Just a suitcase, a burner phone, and a printed map marked with routes she thought didn't have cameras. Ryan called me as soon as the arrest report hit. They got her, he said. She didn't even try to deny it. She was held without bail. The cops took Mason into protective custody and fast-tracked DNA testing. I didn't need to wait for the results. I already knew. Still, when the official report came in, it hit harder than I expected. Mason wasn't hers, not by blood, not by birth. The little boy she'd paraded around like a ticket to my life had been abducted from a hospital in Tucson, 6 days old, taken right from the maternity ward. His real name was Caleb, and his parents had spent the last 2 years in hell. The reunion made the news. I watched it from my living room, the mother crying so hard she couldn't stand, the father holding the boy like he might disappear again. It cracked something in me. Bianca was hit with the full list: identity fraud, child abduction, attempted extortion, forgery, and now, suspicion in Darren's death. The bottle of diazepam was enough to open that case back up. Whether they could prove it or not didn't matter to me. I knew what she'd done, and I knew Darren hadn't just been some cheating bastard. He was scared, cornered, human. He'd made one selfish, gutless mistake, and then spent the rest of his life trying to undo it. That night, I pulled the box of his things out of the closet, sat on the floor, and went through every damn piece. Letters, receipts, old Polaroids. I played the voicemails on the flash drive again, heard the weight in his voice when he said my name, and I cried. Not because I missed him. I'd done plenty of that. I cried because I finally understood him. Because after everything, I still loved the part of him that tried to do right in the end. Irene and I started having lunch once a week. We didn't talk about Bianca much. Didn't have to. Some weeks we just sat on the porch, watching the cornfields sway like nothing had ever happened. One day, she reached across the table and grabbed my hand. You saved him, she said quietly, in the only way he could be saved. I didn't answer, but I squeezed her hand back. I took the for sale sign out of the garage myself and planted it in the front yard just before sunset. Ground was dry, the post didn't go in easy, but I got it done. House would hit the market Monday. I already had a rental lined up near town. Smaller place, no acreage, but with space for a studio in the basement and a screened-in porch that looked out over a creek. Simple, quiet, enough. Before locking up, I walked through the art studio one last time. The walls were still smudged with pencil marks and masking tape from old projects. Darren had put in the skylight himself. It still leaked when the rain came in sideways. We'd made 100 plans in this room. New floors, a kiln, maybe selling pieces at fairs. None of that happened. Life got messy, he got stupid, and then he was gone. But the light still poured through that damn skylight like it didn't care. I stood in the middle of the room and whispered, goodbye, to no one in particular. Later that afternoon, I met Irene for lunch at the diner just outside Bellevue. She was already at the booth with her sweet tea, flipping through the local paper like she always did. She took the plea, she said, not even looking up. I sat down. How long? 18 years, no parole. I nodded. Good. We didn't say much else. Didn't need to. After lunch, I went home, grabbed the small black safe I'd bought from Tractor Supply, and set it on the kitchen counter. Inside it, I placed one thing: a blue spiral bound notebook, bent at the corners and half filled with notes, dates, quotes, and facts I'd gathered since the day Bianca showed up at my door. I locked it shut, spun the dial, and tucked it away in a box marked Office. This chapter was over. I didn't need to live in it anymore. I didn't walk away broken. I didn't disappear under the weight of it. Bianca thought she could steal my life with a baby, a forged will, and a sob story. She underestimated the hell out of me. It wasn't revenge that got her. It was truth, patience, and not backing down.